Are y'all ready to get this started?
Let's go.
3, 2, 1.
Let's get it. Here we go.
Sit your ass down and get ready for the next episode of the Urban Green Room.
The Urban Green Room.
With your host, my girl AA and that dude D. Lewis.
Hey everyone, it's your girl AA. Welcome again to another edition of the Urban Green Room podcast.
What up? It's your man D. Lewis.
Yay! And today, aside from all of what's going on in the world, we got a serious topic to discuss. And I am so honored that we have a dear friend who happens to be an entrepreneur, a leader, and an influencer in the community that we live in. So Paul Frazier is here with us.
What up?
He's the owner of International Profile Barbershop, second generation master barber. His work ethics, his professionalism, and his attention to detail truly make him one of the top-notch barbers in the Kalamazoo, Michigan area. So if you are not going to his shop, chances are, I can tell, not only is it like he's the sought-after barber, Paul is also the founder of 49 AVO Inc., which is a nonprofit organization whose main goal is to assist, empower, educate, train, mentor our young at-risk youth and get them to a place where they're an active contributor to society and to our community. So I'm so honored to have Paul here with us today. Paul Frazier, hello. Welcome to the Urban Green Room.
Hello. Honored to be here. Thank you.
P. Night. Good.
So
I'm here.
From being a friend of D and I, and love his family, love his wife, adorable son. Like as an entrepreneur, like Daryl and I were having this conversation a couple weeks ago, especially with everything that's happening with small businesses and the topic of like, what are we going to do to start supporting Black businesses? Like, how do we have to be better at it? Like, when do we start? How do we do it? Especially now in this economic climate. So I want to start by just reading some information that I found in an article. It says, $1 spends 28 days circulating in the Asian community. It spends 19 days in a Jewish community, 17 days in a white community or predominantly white community, 7 days in a Hispanic community, and 6 hours in a predominantly Black community. So let's let that sink in for a moment. 6 hours. So not only was I disturbed by that statistic, but when it breaks down, this is what it means. Like, we as Black people, when we earn our money, is typically not spent in our community, or better yet, in Black-owned businesses. Because there are businesses that reside in our community that we do not own, that we constantly support, but that dollar leaves the minute we give it to them. They're not recirculating it within our community. So it got me to thinking, like, what are we going to do? Like, let's, cause we're in COVID-19 right now. We see what's happening with all the small businesses, more so with Black owned businesses. And my fear is that we're not going to survive if we don't start supporting on a whole. So I don't know what we need to do. I don't know why we don't support Black businesses the way that we should. Like, I'm not sure if it's because of convenience. Like, we just can't find a Black owned business that in whatever industry that we're looking for. I don't know if it's a lack of trust. Like, if they believe that we have an inferior product. I'm not sure if it's because 9 times out of 10, it probably does cost a little bit more, only because we don't have the inventory or the support to lower those prices. I don't know if it's because the stereotype of we lack professionalism, and the hookup, like the hookup killed. Like, can I get the hookup? I
Yeah.
this because I'm so disturbed. I've always, and I know that D and I always try to support Black owned businesses. I just don't know where to begin because the 9 to 5 in me as a banker literally says there will be more businesses not returning after this economic crisis is ended than there will be, um, lesser Black businesses than there will other race owned businesses returning. And I just wanted to start the discussion. So, Paul, I don't even know where to begin with this. Like you've been an entrepreneur for years. Like, where do we even start this conversation at?
Ah, the first
All right.
question you ask is, well, let's go with the money circulating through our community.
Okay.
We have to actively seek out where to go. Then there has to be some sort of trust there. Uh, I'm in the process of doing some renovations, both my home, my business, the rental property. I've been let down. So once you get bit by a dog once, you're apprehensive about going around dogs. If they got teeth, they could bite me.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of that. We try to spend our men. I'm gonna make it personal. I've tried to spend my money with people who have burned me, didn't do what they said they were gonna do, let alone what they were supposed to do. Took the money, ran, and then you don't hear from them anymore. So something I was told years ago by my cousin: under promise, over deliver. You don't have to slick talk anybody. I'm not going to tell you what I can do for you in your hair. I'm going to tell you I can do my best. When you sit in my chair, I'll let my work talk for itself. You know, I'm not going to tell somebody that I'm not going to promise you the moon. Let's work on this. If you get the moon, then cool. You know, that's part of the problem. There's a trust thing. That slave mentality that was put in us. The people in the house can't trust the people in the field. You know, and what's this cat's angle? He trying to help. He's telling me this. What's his angle? What's he trying to get out of me? No, I'm just trying to help you through a situation because you got a good thing, and I want to see you survive. You know, but I'm just that whole trust thing. I'm not used to trusting anybody. I'm used to doing it by myself. I'm used to being apprehensive. And just recently, that's been flipped. There have been some people, your family, one of them, that has just shown me there are some people out there that you can trust. So I'm starting to actively look to my community again to try to circulate that money. We can have Black Wall Street.
Go ahead.
We're the biggest consumers. Nike should be shut down right now. And we should be investing our money in somebody who makes quality gym shoes, sporting clothing, and at least let's just try them out for 2 months. Give them 2 months of all of our business, make them some millionaires, and then let's go from there. You know,
Paul, I listen. I agree with everything that you said. I have been burnt before by Black owned businesses, and I think the difference between letting that affect how I continue to navigate for or advocate for Black businesses as I'm looking for them is that I go with the notion that, yeah, I'm putting some trust on the line. But I want you to succeed. So like, I'm going to, benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give that to you because I need you to succeed. I need you to prove me wrong based on my previous experiences. So I lead with that notion versus, I can't trust my own people because they continuously let me down. And as true as that may be, in every industry, it doesn't matter. If there's a restaurant, the restaurant that I found the roach, in my food, and then they said it wasn't from the restaurant, but as I said it, there was one crawling on the wall in the kitchen. Like from that experience, and they didn't want to give me my money back. To the one hairdresser who burnt my scalp and didn't want to take responsibility. To the clothing store where, everything in there was overly priced and you could go across the street or to the mall and find the exact same items for, $20, $25 less. Like the continuous burn, like home repairs, you name it, it's been done. So I agree with the fact that you have to actively seek them out, but there has to be a level of blind faith, because that's what I'm going on. I gotta believe that there are those of us who are entrepreneurs who truly, uphold the integrity of our industry and what we do and we take pride in, that want to be successful. We just gotta find them. And then when we find them, we gotta support them. Like we gotta, be advocates. The same way that people are on social media blasting negativity about us, usually our people, we need to take that same type of energy and promote these businesses. Like we gotta get it out there. I don't understand how the money circulates in our community for 6 hours. And then me and Dee were talking right before we were taping, after I found that little, that article. And I said, and ran those statistics by him. And I said, it all makes sense. Because the first thing that happens in the Black household on a Friday when someone gets paid is, what are we going to eat? And I said, Chinese food. And so we go to the Chinese restaurant in our neighborhood that doesn't recirculate that money back into our neighborhood. So I want Chinese food. Well, it's Friday night. I just got paid. Johnny Kemp. I got to go get, something new to wear because I'm going out, pre and hopefully post COVID. I got to get new Nike. Got to have something fresh on my feet. Got to have a new outfit. None of that takes place in our community. None of that. And even if it does, it is 9 times out of 10 not a business that's Black owned. So something is wrong with that because they're right in our community, but they're not reinvesting in us.
True.
D, you got something to say?
Yeah. I think there's 2 points right there that are in, is that, we start out with our own and then we get burnt. But it's just like with anything else, it doesn't take a whole lot of time to lose trust. But once that trust is gone, it takes 10 times longer to be able to build that trust back up. So if you continually used to get burned dealing with, Black and people ditching and taking the money and running, or the quality of work was, there's going to be a lot of apprehension about uh, doing that again. That's one problem that is there. It's a real problem, because I know someone who owns a business and he has for quite some time, and at some point it can't be everybody else. You know, I mean the way he operates. I mean he's honest, he's fair, but and the quality is great, but the time it takes him to do things is just, it's crazy. It's crazy. You can't quote me that it's going to take you a week and it takes you 2 months. I mean, that sounds like an exaggeration, but it's really not. Like, that's kind of what we're talking about here. People are going to be upset with you, and they're not gonna want to do business with you because people want their stuff done. Don't nobody want you in your house, and he's a carpenter. You know what I mean? So he's a builder. Don't nobody want you in their house for 2 months trying to do something. Nah, if I got the money, I'm just gonna call somebody to come in and bust it out in a week. I'm done. I ain't got to put my family through that. You know what I mean? It's just you get in, yeah, we'll suffer for a week and then we good. But we ain't suffering for 3 months for that. So that's one thing. You know, I think the other problem is it's just not enough of us. It's not enough of us anymore, I don't think. You know what I mean? So when we go back to Black Wall Street, we were forced, you know what I mean, to stay together. We were forced to spend our money in our own neighborhoods. We were forced to buy things in our own neighborhood and own those businesses because we couldn't go nowhere else to do it. You know what I mean? So all that money just stayed circulating in our own communities, which is why, there's, living in a lot of these different areas across the country. Nowadays, I think it's way more difficult for a black male or female to open businesses. It's just my opinion. In my opinion, I think it's a lot more difficult than it was. There's a lot more red tape. We don't have enough resources within our own communities, and a lot of us don't have the resource of just knowledge and knowing where to look to find it. Because we've always been the most creative people. So we all got great ideas. We all have that creativity to be able to become entrepreneurs and just design, develop, whatever it is. We have the skills, and I think we have that ability and that creativity. We don't know where to go to do it. You know what I mean? And a lot of it, I think, comes down to the circumstances and opportunities. Within our communities, man, a lot of our youth just don't have a lot of opportunity and even worse circumstances. And, when opportunities are just not either, I don't want to say not smart enough, but we're just apprehensive. We're scared to take advantage of those, because of that we don't know. So I think it's a combination of those two things that, once the 80s hit and all the black, at least where we're from, at the end of the 80s, we didn't have any more black corner stores around that way. You know what I'm saying? Like 87, 88 hit and everybody dipped. They all sold to the Arabs. You know what I mean? So, and now when I go back there, I talk to my boys and they buying up all the real estate everywhere. And they just cycling that stuff back around, you know what I mean? So we got to come up with something to where we get back to where we used to be.
That brings up another thing. We don't seem to hold value in the things that are handed down to us.
Yeah.
Grandma and granddad built this house or bought this house. They passed away. I'm living in a house and I don't have enough sense to pay the taxes on it. This was my granddaddy's house. I don't have to pay them this money. So then when they take the house back and send you to live in the projects because you don't know how to make money enough to live in the way you've been living, now you're upset and you're angry. We don't value the things in our community. And see, it was just the opposite where I grew up. The corner store was owned by a white man for years. A brother bought it from him. And then when he sold it to another brother, and they still own the store. Thank goodness. I'm glad they still do. Right on the other side of the park, there's still these two people have retired, and that's what they do now. They run their little corner store,
and that's rare. And that's actually rare that you see owning one of them corner stores across the country. Man, it ain't
very rare. And this, small town, um, so we don't hold value. Family properties being sold off for pennies on the dollar. 11 acres, 5 miles from the beach, sold off for less than $40,000.
Where that is?
Rolled past South
Oh
Haven.
man.
I rolled past there a couple of weeks ago, and I had to stop. And what my wife said was, "We ain't gonna be coming over here too much, are we?" I was like, "No, I can't do it because I can see the people who bought the property also bought the other piece of property next to it that used to be owned by our family, and they're building what looks like they're building a
Mm.
mansion there, you know." And I'm like telling my son, "This is where Daddy you grew up playing," you know. So we do that kind of stuff, and that's if we could hold on to the things that have some value, you know. Don't sell that piece of property and go buy a Escalade, you know. Then when you do buy an Escalade, don't go buy a new one. You wait. This is what I do. I wait for them guys to go out and buy that stuff. Then I wait until they don't have the money to pay for it and they got to sell it, and I buy it for pennies on the dollar.
So, Paul, because that brings it to like the generational wealth for me. Like we don't see the value in what we own. We are spending money on things that depreciate in value, and the sense of pride to me is gone. So even when we go back to, okay, so we're selling off the family business, is it because we didn't cultivate those values in generations under us to say, hey, this is why this, this company or this store is of importance. This is what it's done to the community. This is how, we've benefited and the community has benefited by having our presence here, or the fact that we employ 20 or, even 50 people within our community here. Like there's a sense of pride that goes with that. Like, did we not instill that enough in later generations so that they see why, the value, and holding on to something like that, and then potentially having that grow? Because we already are at a disadvantage when it comes to generational wealth.
Yes.
So like what little we do have I can say our generation now is trying to bridge that gap. But again, I think due to lack of knowledge, most of us are not. Most of us can't get over the fact of, our credit score has, is weighing us down. So no, I can't open up a business. I can't do this. I can't even get the car that I really want. So, we're already, thinking that doom and gloom. So how am I going to be, or even think about generational wealth when I first can't even get the business started that I want to, because I can't get the funding? Like the lack of knowledge. And I say it's ignorance by default, because the knowledge isn't out there. It's out there. You can Google how to get your credit score back together. You can also Google how to start a business with $100, and there'll be a whole forum of ideas that you can do. What I also see is people picking and choosing what they do and don't want to do. And that's the part where I'm just like, you could do better. Like, why are we picking and choosing? The thought should be, how do I start my business? How do I improve my livelihood? And how do I set up future generations and contribute to the community? That should be the goal for everybody. But rarely do I hear people being motivated enough to want to tackle that. So like, what is it? Is it too much? Is it too much work?
Go ahead, Pete. Let you go.
I think so. Real quick, I think sometimes we overthink it. We overthink the process. Susan can sing. She can sing. She sings like a bird. She doesn't have a job. Get you a Cash App account. Do a couple of medley songs on YouTube. Put it out there. You Cash App me. I will serenade somebody for you. $5. The average song is 3 minutes or less. You only gonna sing the hook. You're only singing the hook. I will pay somebody $5 to serenade my wife because I can't sing. Have given that idea to people. Nobody's done it.
Paul, again, like there are endless ways for us to be successful as entrepreneurs. You already knowing that you would support somebody doing that. I would support somebody doing that. And why can we not get over this hurdle? Because see, that's me trusting you. I'm giving you an idea to benefit on, to capitalize on, and you don't want to take it and run with it. So again, what is it? Is it a lack of being motivated? Do we just not see the light at the end of the tunnel for us? Or are we just content buying from other people while our communities suffer?
Where's the information coming from?
I think it's a little of all of those. I think you got folks that are content to just do what they, and it's not right or wrong. If you live in and you getting by and you straight and you content and happy, then I think majority though, we have not been trained to think long term. So when we start talking about I gotta get something or I want to do this and I want to do that, we're not trained to think about the entire process. You know what I mean? Of going from this point to this point. You know what I mean? We're just focused on this point here and we don't know about anything and how to get there. So we're paralyzed. We become paralyzed because we want it and we want it right now. And we don't want to go through the process of what it really takes to do it. I think that's where the generational gap really is. So I think when you look at our generation and the generation before them, I'm going to blame a little bit on them and I'm going to blame the rest of it on us. Because majority of parents in those generations, especially my dad's generation and all that, did not or could not instill the value of money into, you know what I'm saying? So we don't how to manage our money. We don't understand the value of money and why we need to hold it and why we need to save it. We don't, and that's why we don't understand the value of owning our own businesses and how that contributes back to the entire wealth of the community. We didn't get those lessons that little Johnny get. His parent is a third generation business owner. You know what I mean? That his great grandfather started and just passed on down. We didn't have that luxury. So they got those lessons at a very early age. They understand the longer game and we just don't. I think majority of us fall into that category and we really don't understand it until we say, okay, I'm going to do. Then you start getting into it and it's like, shit, this is a lot of, but the most important part is to just get going. I think that's what anything you want to do, just get started and the rest and just keep going. It'll figure itself out. You'll figure it out. But if you don't do nothing, I can guarantee you ain't going to go anywhere. So that I think we need to train ourselves more to just get going, to do something. If you got an idea and you want to say, hey man, well, just do it. Start it. Make a couple, whatever it is. You know what I mean? So I see some of the generation under us, cats that are springing up and owning their own businesses like clothing lines. So a lot of cats are out there right now with their own little clothing lines. You know what I mean? And I think that's great because they're designing the same things that, we would go out to the mall and get, or we let Habib come in our neighborhood pay the shit bootleg somewhere and then sell it to us jacked up prices, just so we can have that designer brand. Yeah, we bought it in our hood, but we ain't seeing that much. Now we got some of these cats out here, these younger kids, I should say, that they're embracing that entrepreneurial spirit because they understand, like, I don't want to go work for Johnny White Man right now because I'm not going to get where I want to be. I'd rather be rather be happy doing something I want to do versus doing something I have to do just to survive. You know what I mean?
They're good at it, and they're good at it.
Yes. Yes. And they're doing it with little to no investment.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part that kills me because
Right.
you grew this from $500. So you took your paycheck, reinvested it in yourself. And here you are running a business that is now grossing 100,000, a year, moving or trending to be at, 500,000 within 3 years. That's insane to me. And I know people who are doing that, but it goes back to those same people who are now designing their own clothing lines. How are they going to compete with the likes of name brands? Because when I think of Gucci and their mishap in marketing, think of H&M and their mishap in marketing, which all that tells me, when we're supporting them and we're wearing, especially Gucci, walking around with a $3,000 purse, and you are potentially not diverse in your marketing. Like, how do we compete with someone like that? How do we get every little brown boy and girl to start wearing something other than what they hear in a song? Because I'm actually wearing a t-shirt from a gentleman that we wanted to have on the podcast with us. So big ups the Be Great clothing line and Darren and family. But how do we get people? How do we create loyalty for these lesser known brands so that we can continue to support businesses in our community?
We're talking about them like we're doing now. If we hold it to ourselves, then it goes nowhere. I tell people all the time, I'm more of a conduit than anything else. I'm a go-between. If I see something, if I really like something somebody's doing, I'm going to talk about it. By the same token, if you do something bad, I'm going to talk about it. I can work both ends.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you my personal experience on both of them.
Honesty, those trusts, you know what I mean? Stuff. So
yes,
people will
yes.
say, you know what, I'm going to go to Paul and ask him if he knows somebody or if he got.
That's what they do.
Point me in the right direction because you know what, if the dude good, he going to say, yeah, he's straight. And if he not, he going to be like, yeah, man, you're taking a risk right there. So, you got to be honest. And
word of advertising.
That. I was going to say, and it's still the best advertising there is out there. It's still worth, even though we got social media and we can get all this information out through the internet as fast as we can think it. Word of mouth is still the best piece of advertising.
When I get an advertising piece, because I don't advertise for my business at all. Who's my best advertisement is when somebody walks out of my shop and they see who did that. Oh, Paul did that. That speaks volumes. I've never advertised a little blurb on the radio for about a week. That was it. And when I did do it, it brought in so many people, I couldn't handle the business. Why do it? I'm not going to kill myself by doing that. I just I don't have to toot my own horn. That's not cool anyway. I'd rather somebody else say, hey, this is what he did for me. This is what his establishment does.
So, Paul, knowing that you have a loyal following now, because, I walked into the shop literally hoping one day that they cut Black people hair. I did not want to be the family barber anymore. Like, when I tell you we lived out in the boonies, people think we're still in the witness protection program. But I said, I don't want to do the barber. I'm not licensed anymore. I don't want to do this. I need to find somebody I can trust. So I walk into Paul's shop one day and I'm like, oh my goodness, I think he cut. Like I'm in the right place. And like you created a loyal following with my family, and with many people. Like I know I am out in the field sometimes and I will see individuals and they go, hey, don't I know you from Paul's? Yeah, hey, how you doing? Like you're becoming the go-to person for other people. So knowing you have loyalty and you look at your prices, have you ever felt like I need to stay competitive with what other people are doing and lower my prices? Or are you being like consistent? Because when we think of black owned businesses, a lot of them get criticized because of their pricing. So I think nail salons, I heard that from nail salons. I can go over to, one nail salon and it'll cost me 25. If I go to a black owned nail salon, it's probably 40. Like, have you ever felt the pressure to be consistent with what other people are doing, or has your loyalty or your loyal following created your own path for you?
My own path. When I first started to shop, I purposely priced my stuff 50 cents higher than everybody else in town. What does it do for me? I don't want somebody coming to me because my price is low. I want them coming because that's where they want to be. There's enough to go around. There's enough. I don't want people coming in, oh, I can go over there and get a $13 haircut. I've literally had people come in and see my price list and say, I got 17. Okay, well, you need to add some more with that, brother. And just as the brother is sitting there trying to haggle down a price, like we in Chicago and Jewtown, a kid walks in, Mr. Paul. Mom said, can I get a haircut? I said, yep, chair's open. Hands me $25, pulls out his Game Boy and jumps in the chair. The next day, that guy came back. Can I talk to you? You got an appointment time available? Yeah, in about 10 minutes. All right. Hands me $35. When he got in the chair, he said, can you fix this? Because he had went someplace else that was cheaper. And when you pay for cheap, that's what you get is cheap. This is not the end. I honestly feel like if I was in New York, my price would be quite a bit higher than what it is right now.
Yeah, but
I'm not because of where I'm at, I'm staying competitive in that way. I'm purposely not raising my price to where I think I should be for that, because I've grown. I had some loyal customers who have been coming to me for years, and they're going into the retirement age now, and I just wouldn't feel right about jacking up the price on them. Do I deserve it? Yeah. But see, at the same time, those same people look at me, and when they come in and they already pay what I would be charging because they tip. But I tell people I don't work for tips. I'm not a waitress. I'm not a waiter. I don't work for tips. My price is my price. And if you want to bless me, cool. But don't. That's that.
fact.
Oh, I don't have the money to tip you today. I charge what I charge. So yeah, I cut my own path, and they can chase me. And I am not the highest barber in Kalamazoo, because there are people getting double and quadruple what I get.
Yeah.
The people that they cut. Now, this is just for a haircut. This is not a stylist. This is for a fade. They're making 3 digits off of a fade. But the demographic that they're serving denotes that they can do that. They run their business different than I run mine. Now, in the future, there's some things coming down the pipeline that I would like to enact when the time is right, that people are going to be, now I see why he charges what he charges, But you got to do what you have to do,
Yeah, you got to. Yeah, that's important too. Just to back up a little bit,
Yeah.
the difference between the pricing, like you say, if you were stationed somewhere else, you can make or charge quite a bit more, which is true. It's just, man, that's just all marketing. And I'm speaking for, someone who may be listening or watching this who, you know, what I mean? That's all about your target market and demographics of, who you're pitching your product to. It's just that way. In New York, you can do that. Kalamazoo is a smaller market. You're not going to be able to charge a lot for that unless, of course, you've got that clientele that just wants to do that and you can do it. But, you got to be careful not to price yourself out of business as well. So you
Yes.
got to
So,
position yourself just right.
so for me, it's a little different because I'm not in the barbershop to get a haircut. I'm more there to socialize and support. But some of the businesses that I frequent that are in the community. So if I'm going to the hair supply store, beauty supply store, and I always go like, I really wish there was a Black owned beauty supply store, around here. I have not yet found one. So big ups to everybody across the nation because there's a couple Black owned beauty supply stores and chains that are opening up. And, when you get to Michigan, please consider the other side of the state. There's more to Michigan than Detroit. But with that being said, I'm limited. The first thing I notice though, when I am at, I go to a Black owned beauty supply store when I'm back home in New York, is sometimes they don't have the variety that what I'm looking for. So at that point, I take it upon myself to say, hey, if you really want me to spend all my money here, like, have you considered carrying these brands or these items? Because I know I'm not the only person who utilizes, that particular brand. So, I make the suggestion and then I hope they follow through and I try to create some rapport because I would rather, and I've done this, I would rather spend all of my money in one place than have to go to 3 different places and spread my dollar out. Besides that, I want to give it to the person that looks like me. I want to encourage the growth of that business. And there's nothing wrong if you have to go to, the beauty supply place and get what you need. You do what we got to do, right? We all want to look good. However, the moment I'm treated rude, the moment they snatch my dollar, because I'm the type of person, customer service is important to me, which leads us into the professionalism that the stereotype that people have with Black owned businesses is that we're not professional enough. And I beg to differ. But the moment you treat me with any lack of respect, like, okay, so for those of you who don't know, not only, the author name is AA. My real name is Soy. It is shortened, for Soyani. So when I say my name is Soy, and I there have been people who have lost car deals because they could not get this right. It is Soy. Do not call me hun. Do not call me babe. Do not call me sweetie. Don't call me anything of a term of endearment. Like the minute you say sugar or honey, I'm like soy, wrong condiment. It is real simple. It's SOY. You can either say that or you can say Mrs. Lewis, one or the other. But the minute I start to feel a little disrespected, when I hand my money over to people, I like to give it to you. Like I will literally hand it to you and I expect you to hand it back to me. I don't want it thrown on a counter. If I gave you my driver's license, I handed it to you. The minute I feel disrespected, I can no longer service or I can no longer come to your business for services. Like you have wronged me. And I will more so leave a business based on customer service than I will anything else. Now, however, with Black businesses, I always think that's a teachable, coachable moment because maybe they just don't know how that looks. Maybe they don't know that a member of their staff is like, we could do better. Cause I need you to do better because I want to come back here. And the only way that, you're going to gain more business or retain business is if we start speaking up for each other. Now I don't have time to sit there and coach you on customer service. Like, that's not my job, but I can make a suggestion and a recommendation on how to do business differently so that you can keep me coming back and keep the dollars here. Like, so do we feel like Black businesses, that stereotype that we're not professional enough, is that still like everybody's perception of us?
So I believe across the board, more so than not, um, just the way things are done. There's a different conversation that goes on depending on who you are. I noticed that we loosen up, we get a little too loose with our own people sometimes, you know. Um,
That is true.
it all of a sudden is, hey, what's up, homeboy? What's up, bro? What happened to the business voice that you were using with the gentleman who doesn't look anything like me? You know. And by the way, I went to high school with him, and the dude doesn't have any money. You just think he's got money, but you're going to dumb everything down. I'm not cool with everybody. Just because I'm Black doesn't mean that you're my boy. You know, um, I might treat D one way because we cool. You know, I know we can do that, but by the same token, the next guy that comes through there, he's Mr. Johnson. I'm not calling you by your first name just because you're coming in my barbershop. You know, I'm going to make sure that you get the respect that you need, and because I want you to come back, I want you to know that I respect you, and I can't say it's about money because it's not about money for me when it comes to a lot of it. Is That's just the way I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It's gonna-
That a
it's a-
generation
it
thing.
seems to be a generational thing. You know, to me, it's a generational thing. I notice it with generations that come after us. Um, we are we're just too comfortable with our own.
right?
I think a lot of times, and I don't want to, I don't want to bash anybody for it because I think what the deal is that we're so a lot of times to see another one of us. You know, in some cases, especially where we live. Let me just speak for myself. Um, we live in a predominantly white area for most of the time we've been in Michigan. You know, so when you see another brown colored person, you know, he was like, hey, it's nice to see you, Mark. You know, but
You know,
so I think some of it comes from that, but, you know, also it's not taught. We were taught by our parents that you respect everybody, especially adults and people older than you. You know, so I was never going to go over one of my friend's house and call his father by his name. That was never going to happen. Like, I'm not going in your house calling your dad Larry.
right?
Know what I'm saying? It's going to be Mr. Whatever, whatever. And that's just the way we were taught. We were taught like AA saying a store and somebody the money. You know what I mean? You hand somebody that money. You don't throw it on the counter for them to pick it up. One is rude. Second, it takes longer. Now that person's got to pick all that change up if you throwing change down there. You know, it just, you mess up their flow of business and it's disrespectful. So
It's funny.
it's just different nowadays because I don't think people are taught those basics anymore. You know,
Mhm.
it's just get them, especially when you're talking service type businesses like a convenience store or something, you know, with lower paying jobs, you know, people, it's just different, you know, in those little jobs back then. Like, you know, I had boys that used to work at McDonald's. Man, ain't nobody want to work at McDonald's. But you know what? When they got that check every week, they was proud to work there and they respected everybody when they came in. You know, I can go in that same McDonald's today and boy, about 15 years. And there's a reason why. You know what I mean? There's a reason why I haven't. It's not because I don't eat McDonald's anymore. I'd rather go to a different McDonald's than that one because I know what I'm getting there, and I ain't got time.
No. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
When it comes to our own people, we should want to give extra. I mean, not extra, but okay, let me go that extra mile. Let me. You're looking for a car. Hey, you said you want this. Okay, I'm gonna put a hold on this car for you because that's the one you said you like. But you mentioned that you wanted this one. Let me check around and see if I can find that one for you. But trust me, if I can't find it, this one is yours. Let me do that for you. Why? Because I want you to have what you really want if I can do that for you. We don't see a lot of that anymore.
But Paul, I don't see us going out of the way as a group. I don't see us going out of the way for each other on small things. So I can't imagine something big. Like I said, I'm an advocate for businesses succeeding. Like that's my business. I need you to be successful. I need you to, be the example that I can say, hey, look at what they were doing. There's some good things, good behaviors, good strategies that they were doing over there that I think you could follow and be successful in your industry. Like, I don't see us going above and beyond for each other. And that's the part that bothers me. Like, we're quick to say, we're quick to spot out when, there's a little white kid in the grocery store acting crazy. And we're quick to be like, he need to be disciplined. We look at our own, and this, I have done this, Paul, literally done this. Told a little white child, your mother said, get up. Because I was tired of him embarrassing her. Like he was embarrassing himself, embarrassing her. And I said, your mother said that she did not have the money to spend on that. Get up. And instead of walking around here embarrassing her, why don't you help her and do something productive? And then maybe then she might just buy you something. She might not buy you that, but she might buy you something. Mother said, thank you, right? Same scenario. Black child doing the same thing. Got on my nerves. Like literally. And it takes a lot for me to like pipe up and say something to a kid. But this kid saw the look on my face. The little white boy saw the look on my face. So he already knew it was coming. He was like, oh, I done been around a black woman before. Something's going down. The little black child that was having issues and pretty much cussed his mother out. And he wasn't even like, he was maybe 5 apples high. So he couldn't have been more than 5 years old. Cussed his mother out. And I said, okay, enough is enough. I said, cut it out. Get over there and stand up like you know how to behave yourself and stop embarrassing yourself. I said, and apologize to your mother. And he's like, who is you? And the first thing I was just like, oh, so now we talking back to grown-ups. Because if you're going to cuss your mother out, you certainly about to cuss me out, and I'm not the one. So I went on to tell him, I am somebody that you don't want to know. I said, not today. And he was like, you know my grandmother? I said, no, I don't know your grandmother. I said, but if the correlation between me and your grandmother, and if she's the person who keeps you in line, then yeah, I know your grandmother. I know what she would say to you right now. And he said, ma'am, please don't tell my grandmother. I said, no, you just cussed your mother out. I didn't like what you said. You need to apologize to her. You need to apologize to me, and you need to apologize to the lady, the cashier, because nobody should hear those words come out of their mouth towards their mother, or period. First of all, because I don't think you can spell it. So he apologized, all this other stuff. And I said, now help your mother with the groceries. Don't know. And she said, well, he don't have to do. I said, yeah, he does. He's going to do it. Okay. So she started to make excuses for his bad behavior. My point is, are we making excuses for our own bad behavior? Because while I was willing to help her, coachable moment for the mom, because you don't have to tolerate that, for the child. So if we make this a business and the employee, are we making, excuses for how we run our business for the people that we hire? Because we're hiring people who look like us, but are we coaching them to our standards and to our brand? And then are we reminding them? Because every morning as a leader, the 9 to 5, I coach my team. I lead them in discussions on my expectations around my business model. So are we doing the same thing? Are we driving home the point so that, listen, we need to maintain professionalism. Like, don't be popping the gum all willy nilly in front of, every customer that comes in here. Don't be on your cell phone while you're trying to interact. And for the love that is all right, I, as the customer, should not know what you and your boyfriend did the night before, how he got on his nerve, his baby mama drama. I don't want to hear that while you're cashing me out. Cut the conversation, cash me out, wait till the store is empty, and then continue your conversation, because it's probably juicy story. She probably want to hear the rest of it. However, I don't. And anytime I walk into situations like that, I am quick to be like, ma'am, I don't care. So, word of advice, not everybody needs to know your business. If it was meant for you and your girlfriend over there, then wait for everybody is done. I find myself having more coachable moments than I should have to, because I want us to succeed. Like, where do we draw the line? Who's making excuses and why?
Oh, we're all making excuses. We're all making excuses. I've had plenty of those type of situations that it's almost like we don't want to offend somebody. We get to the point where the person who works up under you becomes more than the person who works up under you. And you don't want to offend them, like you have something to lose if they get upset and quit. So the whole teachable moment thing, for me, a lot of times grown people should know these things. They should know. I know, but I keep hearing from everybody, but you know a lot of stuff a lot of people don't know. Maybe they weren't raised that way. Maybe they haven't had an example of the same kind of upbringing that you had, even though they're saying they did. And I've heard that for the last 23 years with different people. One person actually called me back after they had quit, like years after, and thanked me. Now I see that everything you was telling me was so that I could do better with my business. Long story short, doing great, travels the world, doing what they always wanted to do. And it wasn't hair. It was an extension of the services, but hair is part of what they do. And they do it on L'Oreal's dime, and just thank you, because now looking back, I can look back on the different little things that you told me and realize you were looking out for my best interest when I just didn't know any better at the time. I didn't want to hear that. I was young. I wasn't thinking, It fostered a relationship that I'm so glad, and it just gets hard. These are not the type of things that we are told as Black business people that we need to do. That's your boy. You need to look out for him. If y'all been bored, some of the worst thing you can do, you don't hire family and you do not hire your friends, because it makes it awkward at Christmas and at birthday time when you were at that party and you just had to get on them at work. It makes it awkward. So you're either going to be that hardcore person and let them know straight up from the beginning, these are the rules. You're going to stick by these rules. And it brings us to another thing. Have your ducks in a row before you get to that position. Have your handbook ready. Sign the back of this handbook. Why? This is saying that you read this, because this is my Bible. And if you don't live by this, it also says that you're going to find yourself out there on your keister.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you did that to me. I didn't do that to you. You did that to you.
That's a legal protection too.
Huh?
It's a legal protection as well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But we don't protect ourselves that way. We don't protect ourselves as far as how to not have to have certain conversations because what's the term I just heard? We're building a plane as we're flying it. There's too much of that building a plane as you're flying it stuff. And when we have people that can give us advice, we don't listen to their advice because they don't know nothing. They only own three. I'm going to be a millionaire. They only got a couple of $100,000. So why am I listening to them? You know, my uncle used to work for a big retailer here in this part of the country, and the person who started the company, he trained their sons who are now running the company now. They're the ones running, but they started off bagging. They started off on the ground level, so they saw every aspect of the business. And as they got to certain stages, then they moved up. They didn't just start off in the office, and that's something we fail to do with our children. My son goes down to the shop. My son is he can tell people, I put that coat hook on the wall. I painted that right there. He knows he owns a house in Battle Creek. Why? Because he's going with me to help do the work on the house. So there's going to be some value there. Hopefully he hates getting rid of it, you know. So he knows that's my house. But those are the little things that we fail to do for the generations coming up behind us. And I say that because if there's a young man that's 15 years old and he wants to sit down there and sweep my floor, I'm going to give him every little nugget I can.
No doubt.
You know,
No doubt.
every little nugget. Well, I can't. You don't just go over there and eat the candy out of it. No, you don't eat that. I'm not eating my profit. No, you don't do that. That's biting into the profit. So you pay for every piece of candy at the little candy counter. Yes, every piece of candy. You got to put something in, otherwise you can't take anything out. You know. Well, how come you don't take a break? I take a break. I take a break when I can. But you the boss. No, I'm not the boss. I have about 20 bosses a day. Every half hour, a different boss comes in. I have to adjust myself every time somebody comes in.
Try.
This person doesn't like the conversation. He likes to read his book while he's in the chair. This cat right here, he wants to talk about the stock market. So I'll let him teach me about the stock market. This one wants to talk about the school system. I'm gonna let him talk about the school system. I'm picking up stuff and regurgitating stuff back and forth. You know, you have to be a chameleon of sorts. And a lot of people just don't have it. There are a lot of people who are running business that should only be a worker. They should have somebody else, hire somebody else to run your business, and you do what you do best. You cut or you work on the car, but you got Cheryl up front who's great at bringing the customers in, setting the appointments, handling the money. Let people do what they're good at doing. The people who do the best know how to hire people that are great at what they do to surround them.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even the best managers, when you talk about 9-to-5s and corporate businesses, the best managers, the best business owners tell you flat out that, hey, we're only successful because I hire people that know what they're doing and I get out the way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But you touched on something I wanted to follow up on. You know, I think it's both ends to blame. So I think the owners got some ownership in there as well as the workers. You know, when you're saying people don't want to offend anybody, you know, we should know by now anyway. You can't assume somebody knows something. You know, so if I'm job, it's my responsibility to teach and train you how to do that job the way that I want you to do it. You know what I mean? And it's on me to allow you to be able to grow and get better at it, but also let you know that if you can't do it, we need to figure. So that's I think first you have to be a coach. You have to be willing to teach and coach people if you're gonna own a business and have people working for you. Now, if you want to own a business and it's just you a sole proprietor, and you know but if you're gonna have people working for you, you have to be able to teach and train them, and that person to receive criticism. So I think there's a huge gap there on both ends. You know, the owners don't have the ability or the patience to teach or the willingness to teach properly and coach. And a lot of our folks can't take constructive criticism either. You know, so you have to, and that goes back to finding the right people. You have to be able to pick the right person, and just because you know them and we grew up together or whatever, you know, or that's my cousin Nook Nook and them. You know, you have to pick the right people because at the end of the day, this is gonna be your livelihood. You know what I mean? This is your livelihood. This is your future. This is your legacy. Hopefully, you know. I know you're not doing this for your health. Doing this so you can set yourself up and hopefully your family and future generations. So when you look at it and from that lens, yeah, you better have the right people on your team to be able to produce and give you what you need them to give you so that everybody can be successful in that. Gotta take the kid gloves off and stop being so fragile. You know, we gotta toughen up a little. And people offend you so easily. What happened to broad shoulders? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What happened to that? Because you had to have that when we was coming up. You know what I mean? You better have broad shoulders. It was going to be a tough road for you. You know, so we got to get back to allowing us to be us. We can be cool, but we can be business too. Let's handle business.
Right.
We can be cool, but let's handle business too. We can have both. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Both focused on the fact that at the end of the day, we got jobs to do and we need to handle that.
Yeah. I agree with both of you. I think, one, if you're going to own the business, it's your brand. It's the people who are, in-house are the faces for your business. And if you want to make sure that you have like steady business, customer loyalty, you gotta work on the training piece. The professionalism has to be there. And anyone who's ever worked for me, like, they will tell you, we are not friends. 9 to 5, we are not friends. Not on social media. I don't want to go out with you. Like, I want to get to know you, but it's that fine line. And I need to be your leader all the time. Cause there's things and situations where I'm going to ask you to blindly follow me, and I need you to follow me. Like, that doesn't happen once we cross that line. Like, if me and you are at, wet t-shirt Tuesday on vacation, and then we come off a vacation from having tequilas and fun and all that other good stuff, or if I party with you every weekend, and that, I think it takes away from that level of respect that you have for me. Cause in the back of your mind, you're probably thinking, well, that's not what you were doing on Saturday. Or that's not what you said Friday night when we was joking around. Now you want to be all, stuffy in business, and, you want to follow the rules. Like, I don't want to ever cross that line, nor do I want anyone to not take advantage of whatever opportunity I'm giving them because of something I've done on the personal side. So I keep it strictly business, 9 to 5. And then when you're not working for me, we can be friends all you want. And I go, that's that piece where, like, separation of business from your personal world has to be there. And if you're running a business, you got to step up that professionalism. I think there's too much friend and not enough money happening in those situations. And, like, you need to get to money. Like, that was the whole purpose of you going into business, was to build your brand, your legacy, and to create some wealth for yourself. You're not going to do that if the professionalism isn't stepped up. Like, you're just not. You're going to lose more business. And that's us. That's on us. And to me, that's a Black thing, because let's face it, we'll take anything from other people, but we won't take it from ourselves. And that's the truth. Because the nail salons, they talk about us and treat us bad. The hair salons, beauty salon places, they dog us out, and we still go back. Like, when are we going to learn our lesson? Let's step up our professionalism so we can cater to our people and continue to recycle that money. So, this conversation is getting real good. So I got it, Paul. We joked about this in the beginning. The hookup. I hate the hookup. The hookup bothers me because as an author, as I go to my shows and expos and fairs and book signings and stuff, like I'm never going to shortchange my work. Like I'm not going to do it. I'm a work in progress. I get better with every book, but I'm never going to shortchange myself. So there's never a hookup. Like it is what it is. These are my prices. And when you take into account that I traveled to be here, like there's a hotel that I paid for, probably airfare or even gas. Like there's an expense, there's an overhead. The hookup drives me crazy. So when you said someone came to the shop and was like, at first, here's, I got 17, I got 13. I don't see anybody haggling with Michael Kors. Like I don't. I've gone into Michael Kors stores several times, and not once did I see not a soul say, I don't want to pay this much for this purse or this much for the shoes. They will say, is anything on sale? But a sale is different. That's me initiating, the process.
Oh,
It's not.
They don't haggle with Fred Meyers.
No. They don't haggle with Sears. They don't haggle. No, you might be able to. Right now, they don't. Not with Coach. When I go to Louis Vuitton, I don't haggle. I go in, I get what I want, I pay what they tell me I gotta pay, and that's it. Why then, when it comes to Black-owned businesses, do we feel the need to get the hookup? I need the family discount. Girl, I done known you for years. I know you ain't gonna charge me full price. I can't stand that.
As opposed to, I'm coming to you, this is what. No, I don't care what you charge because I'm coming to you because we grew up together. So I'm gonna come to you, and I know you're good at what you're doing. You're right. I don't like to hook up either.
I see it as, I got this business, and yeah, everybody's got friends. Now, I'm looking at it like this: if you really my peoples, you're gonna support me because you want to see me succeed. You're not going to come and try to take away from me.
Right.
You know what I mean? You see the difference in mentality? Getting a hookup is cool if I give it to you.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it can happen. Like if, AA is at a book spot and she wants to give somebody what? Why not? I'll give it to you for this price here. How about that? That's different than somebody coming up and saying, you know what? I really want them both, but I only got, can you hook me up? No, I can't. Sorry. Now you my cousin and everything, and I love you, but why you trying to take food away from me? Because you trying to be cheap. Because if you had to go across town to get the same product, you're not walking in that store and asking them or saying, hey man, hook me up because I only want to pay this much for it. We got to start changing, I think, the way we think as people, man. Like, if you're going to support. If you're not, fade to black. And we got to be strong enough as entrepreneurs to stand that too. Like, look, man, I love y'all. Y'all my people. But I have to eat. I have a family. This is my livelihood. I can't give everybody a hookup. Let's cut this shit out, man. Because guess what? Jordan ain't never hooked your ass up. Never.
Got every pair.
Jordan ain't never hooked me up. Or anybody else. Jordan will tell you straight up. Jordan ain't care when kids was getting killed for his shoes. Lowering the price. And he said it. Look, man, stop. Look, so we got to differently, man. If we're going to pay for other products, we need to start paying our own people as well, man, and stop looking for the hookup. If I initiate that with you, then it's cool. You know what I mean? Other than that,
Right.
let's be straight up. It's business.
What it is.
It drives me crazy. And I can never think of a time where I actually asked for the hookup. I even when people have tried to give me things for free, especially our people, and I will go back and say, you know what? This is not how you make money. So if I'm opening up my wallet for you, you're going to take whatever it is that I'm giving you, which is the asking price. Like, do not shortchange the talent, like, or the time or the energy or your products. Like, you had to pay for this. So let me pay you because I feel like you're worth it. I want to see you succeed. I've never like dumbed down a black owned business by asking for the hookup. It drives me crazy. And I know for a fact we don't do it with any other businesses. You are never going to go to an Asian or Chinese restaurant and say, I got $5, but I want the $20 special and think they're going to give it to you. It's never going to happen. Listen, not even at the nail salon. And I watched that happen one day. The girl said she did not know the change of color on your nails was $20. She thought it was $10. And she said, well, I'm not going to pay $20. And I looked at this young sister and I said, did you ask before you got the service done? And she said, no. I said, well, word of advice. You should have asked before you sat down for the service. You owe that lady what the price that she did the service for. I said, that's her time. And you sat down and got what it done and it looked really nice. You might not want to, but you should pay her what she told you she needed. And she looked at me and she huffed and puffed and she took that 20 out and said, I'll never come back. I said, but that right there, that's your choice. Now you know. And if you don't want to pay this, then don't come back. But what you're not going to do is shortchange yourself by asking for the hookup and she just told you no. I said, because I don't know too many other places that can happen. So, yeah, for what it's worth, I just, especially right now with the economic situation that's happening, I just think that we have to get better about supporting Black businesses. I want every last one of them to reopen. The truth is, I don't think they are. And it saddens me because I feel like if we had a strong enough following and a strong enough support, that everybody will open back up after this is all said and done. But there are going to be some businesses that are struggling.
That's what's up.
And so, Paul, like with the barbershop, what are you doing right now to encourage people? Or what are people doing to help your business?
Right.
I've had quite a few people calling me asking, what's your cash app? They've been sending money. Just $5 here, $10 there. Paying for haircuts that I would have been sitting in the chair this Saturday. So I'm taking care of the cut every week, every 2 weeks.
That's real stand.
They've been really my cut. I've said it before. I believe I have the best clientele around. And I don't mean with numbers. I mean with the heart. Because my clients have been showing me that we want you around. We don't want you to fail. They put more money into me than the government has put into me.
Wow.
Okay. So when I tell people I'm going to be all right, I'm going to be all right. They're not gonna let me fail. They're not gonna let my family fall. I've got a guy that calls me every 2 weeks, brother. What do you need? What do you need? Okay.
We ready.
That's
And And I purposely don't tell him anything because I know this gentleman did big heart. He's got a big heart. And he's been telling me, if I ever hit, I'm paying off all your stuff. I've got those kind of clients that are calling me saying, hey, we're doing all right over here. What do you need? Y'all got everything you need. Somebody just called me. This is the kind of stuff that people end up forgetting about, certain things, and things get cut off and they lose it, you know. So if you need your insurance paid, let me know. I'll pay your insurance for it, you know. But I'm good. I mean,
and that just is a testament to the work that you do, plus what you do in the community. We didn't even touch on the organization today. That's a whole nother topic to get into.
I'll be happy to come back so we can talk about that.
Yeah. But I just, you know, for any small business, to me, the biggest thing that you can do to show your support right now literally is buy some gift certificates. Pay them, like Paul said, as if you were still in the chair. Ask, what do you need? And you'd be surprised, because sometimes they just need somebody to vent. They just need somebody to talk to.
For the barbershops and people who call your barber and buy products from them. They can sell you the products. They can put them in take your credit card number and they can drop it off on your doorstep. Or, hey, if you come by, I'll put the product outside. You can go ahead and get the product and cash app it to me. You know, barbershops are closed right now, but you can still do e-commerce.
Mm-hmm.
So,
there's a lot of ways now that we can show support, and not just the barbershops, all the Black businesses are closed. Let's pray that everybody opens their doors back up. And when they do, really support everybody. Like, get out there and recirculate that money, because 6 hours in our community, our dollar stays there, is not enough.
Well, it's not
enough. So, D, anything else you want to say?
Nah, man, I think we hit it pretty good. Thanks a lot, P. Thanks a lot, my man. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll put all your information out there on our site, the socials, where people can contact you. We'll put the other stuff up there as well. But yeah, we got to do better, you know, as a people. And I think it starts with this sort of thing right here. Let's just talk about it. We got to talk about it, get the conversation started, and then hopefully ways to rectify the fact that we're not circulating our money the other cultures do. So that's what's up, and we appreciate your time, my man, for sure.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Family,
You're welcome.
Already keep.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you for tuning into the Urban Green Room podcast. Let's keep the conversation going. Hit us up at urbangreenroom.net or on our Facebook or IG page.
I always follow them.
Tell us what you think about today's conversation. If there's a topic you want to discuss, let us know. And by all means, tell a friend. The Urban Green Room podcast, giving you something to talk about. Until next time, we out.